Welcome back to a brand new explainer. Today we're unpacking a startling and honestly deeply sobering report focused on the Bangladeshi diaspora. We're looking at two starkly different realities here, a profound family tragedy abroad and then a highly lucrative commercial development aimed right back at those same expats. Since the first half deals with a really heavy subject, we're going to approach this with the seriousness and respect it deserves. Let's just dive right in.
So what actually happens when a family dispute, one taking place thousands of miles away from a person's roots, turns entirely deadly? It's a dark question, right? But it's the exact scenario at the heart of our first segment. You see, when expats move abroad, they don't just pack their bags. They bring their entire lives, their hopes, and yeah, their complex family dynamics with them. And when things go south, the sheer isolation of being in a foreign country can amplify a crisis in ways you can barely imagine.
To really grasp this, we need to look at the people involved. We have Humayun Sheikh, the older brother, and Noyan Sheikh, the younger. These two are the sons of Dilwar Sheikh, originally hailing from Pashkim Sonarong village over in Bangladesh. They took this massive geographic and cultural leap to live together as expats in Lecce, Italy. So they're sharing a life far, far away from their ancestral village. But unfortunately, they were also sharing a deeply fractured relationship.
And things escalated with just terrifying speed. It all started on a Wednesday evening with an argument over family matters. Fast forward to about 8 p.m., and the dispute has completely intensified. Humayun, clearly enraged at this point, grabs a sharp weapon. Just moments later, this boils over into a sudden, fatal attack on his younger brother, Noyan.
You really cannot overstate the severity of this attack. The injuries were so absolutely catastrophic that Noyan never even had a chance to make it to a hospital. He died instantly, right there at the scene in Lecce.
Now, this is where the story takes an incredibly modern and frankly deeply distressing turn. Right after the fatal attack, the older brother didn't run. He didn't even call the local authorities right away. Instead, Humayun picked up his phone and initiated a sudden video call to his family members all the way back in Bangladesh. Just pause and think about that mechanism of connection for a second.
The reality of that call is almost too grim to even process. Humayun literally used this video call to broadcast the aftermath of his violence. According to the report, he pointed the camera and actually showed his family the bloody body of his murdered brother. And right then and there, live on the call, he confessed to them that he was the one who did it. As you can imagine, seeing a horrific scene like that caused the family back in Bangladesh to completely break down in tears. A profound, heavy shadow of mourning just instantly descended on them.
As for the immediate aftermath, the consequences were incredibly swift. Word of what happened spread like wildfire through the local area in Italy, creating this massive sensation and just widespread shock across the community. The Italian local police immediately launched an operation in response, and their decisive action led to the successful arrest of the accused, Humayun Sheikh.
Okay, so right at this point, the source material makes a really striking pivot. It shifts immediately from this horrific true crime tragedy in Italy over to a massive new real estate initiative. And here's the kicker. It's targeting the exact same demographic, the Bangladeshi diaspora. It's a pretty fascinating shift in messaging, to say the least. So let's look at how this builds into the second half of our explainer.
Section 2. The Expat Smart City. Investing back home.
To entice these expats to invest back in their home country, developers are promising a really comprehensive list of modern civic amenities. We're talking everything from a school and a library to a mosque and a fully equipped hospital. They're also throwing in some major lifestyle upgrades, things like a swimming pool, a gym, a supermarket, a children's park, and get this, even a helipad. It is entirely designed to be a self-sustaining, hyper-modernized enclave.
So you might be wondering, what does it actually take to buy into this exclusive smart city? Well, the broadcast boldly highlights the entry price. To lock down an attractive flat in this project, an expat needs a minimum investment of 30 lakh taka, which translates to 3 million taka. That number really highlights the substantial financial capital these expatriates are expected to bring right back into the domestic economy. And on top of that, developers are creating these tiered incentives to actually draw those funds in. The report specifically mentions logistical perks being advertised for high-tier investors. Like, if you reach the status of a platinum investor, you are promised VIP protocol facilities right off the plane at the Dhaka airport. It's a very clear strategy, right? Make the return home as seamless, prestigious, and comfortable as possible for folks willing to commit that kind of capital.
Which brings us to the end of our explainer today. And honestly, it leaves us with a deeply provocative question. When you look at both halves of this report, how do we reconcile these two completely different realities? Because on one hand, you have the severe, sometimes fatal vulnerabilities, the profound stress and the isolation experienced by expats living far from home, like we saw with that tragic case in Lecce. But then, on the exact same hand, we see these expats being aggressively targeted as a wealthy, elite demographic for highly lucrative real estate developments back home. It's just a stark duality of the expat experience. Definitely think about that the next time you consider the true costs and the perceived rewards of leaving home. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope this explainer brought this complex report into much sharper focus for you.